um, April 31st of next season? How can I get my team to be a contender on April 31st of next year? That's what you're thinking if you're the Angels general manager. So you've got to get all your pieces to be good for April 31st. And some of that has to be starting pitching. I have to get a starting pitcher. So if you make a surprise move and you trade Joe Adell for Clevenger, like maybe I do that. Maybe you do that because you need a good starter. Hint, hint, like cough, cough. Like maybe I'd make that trade, like Adele for Clevenger. Um, but you have to put your team in a position to win for April 31st because you can't flush away Mike Trout's career. And arguably the greatest player of all time. You can't flush away his career. And you do that when you don't surround your team. You set your team up for failure, right? Like you set your team up for failure starting the season when you don't have any good starting pitchers. In your rotation. Bundy's been great, yeah, but please do not trade him because unless you're playing into going to a rebuild, then don't trade Dylan Bundy because he's a piece that you use next year to make your team a contender. So please do not trade Dylan Bundy because that would be incredibly stupid because then next year you would have no starters to use. And you would have Julio Teheran as your number one starter. You do not want that. So, if you are the Angels, I think what you do is, I know Trevor Bauer wants to play in Southern California. Maybe you try to sign Trevor Bauer. You try to trade David Fletcher for a starting pitcher. You need starting pitching. You need starting pitching. So, gotta get starting pitching, and you gotta say, hey, the season's been an absolute colossal failure. What do I do so that April 31st, my team is a contender? That's what you ask yourself if you're the GM. And obviously, I'm in no position of telling the GM what to do. I am wearing an Angel shirt right now, just because I like Mike Trout, but that's that. They also traded Jason Castro to the Padres, which was a kind of weird trade, but it's whatever. Get a prospect. I don't know. Moving on to the National League, we've got the Atlanta Braves, who are in first place in the NL East. I thought the NL East was the best division coming in this year. That's not been the case in terms of how well the teams have played. Everyone's played really mediocre. Phillies, Mets, Nats have been an absolute disaster. Marlins have been surprisingly actually pretty good. And the Braves have been good too. So the Braves are in first place. They lost their number one starter, Mike Soroka, one of the best young pitchers in the MLB, to Tommy John surgery. And then Hamels is also on the DL. Still have Max Fried, Toussaint. They DFA'd Mike Fultonevich because he just wasn't playing well. And yeah, so that's that. I would get another starter if I were them. I would be another team in the mix for Lynn, Robbie Ray, Mike Minor. God, who's another starter that might be on the block? I'm trying to think of like another starting pitcher. Oh, by the way, they traded for Tommy Malone, which was a good move. You add another I think Malone is someone who is like gonna be good, just because like he has good stuff, and he doesn't throw hard, but he just fools guys, and I think he's great for the NL East. So I like that move. I thought it was a good trade. I think if you wanna like go all out and try to win a World Series next year, you trade for Lynn, you trade for Mike Minor, because you need that frontline number one starter. You can't go into the playoffs with Max Fried as your number one. He's a great pitcher, but he can't be your number one starter. And if you plan on winning the World Series, I don't know when Hamels will return. Let me look up Cole Hamels real fast. Cole Hamels. Okay, so he's moving in the right direction right now, so he'll be back. So that's encouraging for them. It'll be good to have him in the playoffs. He's a great playoff pitcher. I think he won the World Series MVP maybe when he's with the Phillies. But good play pitcher. So that'll be good to have Hamels back. But if you want to be a full-on contender and, like the number one team, I think you trade for a number one starter. So maybe you trade for Clevenger too. I don't know. Moving on next, we got the Phillies. Phillies kind of been really mediocre. Their bullpen, again, showing problems, but they trade for Hembree and Workman. I like that move. You don't give up too much. You give up Pivetta and Seabold. Even if Seabold's good, you get two controllable and good bullpen arms. So that's a good, that's a good move. And in terms of their lineup, Harper has turned the clock back, man. He looks like he may win MVP. He's just been absolutely incredible this year. Love to see that as a Phillies fan. I'm rooting for Bryce to be good, so I'm happy that he's having a good season. And their starting pitching has been pretty good. I think Wheeler's pitched well. Nola looks like a Cy Young type candidate. Obviously not that good, but Nola's been really good. Arrieta, not so great, I don't think, which is too bad because I actually like Arrieta. Just think he has a nasty two-seam changeup. Or two-seam fastball, excuse me. Yeah, 2 and 3 with a 4.32 ERA. So he has been great. And who are the other starters? Oh, like Vince Velasquez, yeah, and Eflin. But overall, they've just been hurt a lot by their bullpen, not pitching very well. So we'll see. They're just playing really mediocre. Don't trade JT Realmuto, re-sign him, and then move forward. They have a ton of cap space, so I think you re-sign Realmuto. Just do not trade him. That would be incredibly stupid. If you're trying to contend, you want Realmuto on your team, so keep JT Realmuto because you still have a chance to make the playoffs this year. Honestly, like you're 14-14, like top 3. Like they have a chance to make the playoffs. So, I'm working towards making the playoffs. If I'm the Phillies, I keep my assets. And yeah, moving on, we got the Marlins. Marlins step in the right direction here. I'm not a fan of Derek Jeter, but I gotta give my hat off to him because he's really improved this team. You get VR, Aguilar. You get Corey Dickerson. Just guys that hopefully they will deal at the deadline. I think it'd be smart to deal VR and get some good prospects. But we're already seeing Sixto, just absolutely disgusting. Oh my God, he is nasty. Alfaro's good. So the Realmuto trade, they really hit the bullseye on that because those guys are nasty. And then their lineup is pretty good. I mean, it's producing. And VR has been great. Aguilar's been good. Those were good acquisitions. Brian Anderson is producing. Same with Garrett Cooper. I don't think they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll be in the running. They have really good starting pitching, with Alcantara. It's good.